Good morning, everybody. So good to see you all today, joining us for this third and final session of our Grow with Google series. We are so glad again to have Lindsay Sims, who is our Grow with Google coach for the state of Ohio, who's going to be presenting selling through e-commerce with us today. So hopefully you have been enjoying what we've heard so far. And for those who are joining for the first time, get ready. This is a power-packed young lady with some great information to share. So again, we want to welcome you on behalf of the Minority Business Assistance Center and our director, Jesse Mark. I'm Sharon Francis, business advisor. And with those that are also from my team that are joining us today, again, we welcome you. So we're going to turn it over to Lindsay. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hello, everyone. It is, again, lovely to see all of you here. I know we can't see your faces, but I can see your names, and it's just as good. So if you all could, in the chat, go ahead and get us started with who you are, where you're from, and what your business is. If you have been here for the last couple of days, you guys know that I love to use your real businesses as examples in the session. So if you give me your real business, like what the thing is you do, it makes it a lot easier for me to explain to you how to use all the tools that we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about selling online using e-commerce tools. Now, the funny thing about this is that often when I do a workshop on this topic, people are a little confused. And when I say a little confused, I think, again, it's mostly that people think that you can only sell online using your like your personal specific Shopify account or something like that. And the reality is there are a lot of ways to sell things online, like a lot of ways. And so what we're going to be talking about is actually all of those ways and how you can leverage them, whether you actually have e-commerce or not, because you might not have a Shopify website or Wix or something like that. You might have something where you don't have e-commerce on your website, and you too can actually sell your products online, even if you are selling a service or if you're selling an enterprise product. So we talked a little bit about that, where you're selling to big groups of people. So yes, it's possible for all of us. And yeah, go ahead in the chat. You can chat to everyone or you can chat it just to me. I would love to know, again, what you are, who you are, where you're from, and then what your business is that you are doing. And then we will jump right on in. So again, I'm Lindsay. It's nice to meet all of you. I am the Grow with Google digital coach for Ohio, but no matter where you are, I am today your personal Grow with Google digital coach. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of things as it relates to Google tools. Today, more than any other day this week, we're going to really hit on some Google tools, a lot of which you guys have probably never even heard of. So that's the part to me that's super exciting. We're going to talk a little bit about why to sell online, but mostly we're going to talk about showcasing your business. So let's go. Why should we sell online? I'm an avid reader. I read constantly all the time. And by read, I mean listen to audiobooks. And yes, that counts. And so one of the audiobooks that I was reading recently is a book about developing habits. And it's actually specifically for business owners who want to develop habit-forming products and services. And they were talking about in this book how people are so addicted already, the behavior that they already do is to look online for products and services, regardless of whether or not they're going to purchase them in person. Isn't that amazing? That is something that I think a lot of us don't realize people do. Like we literally, even if we are going to buy the thing in person, we go online first to do our research. And oftentimes we might be in person at a place. And you guys, I'm not even going to ask you to raise your hand because I know that we all do this. You will be in person at a place and then look up the same thing that you're looking at in person on your phone to see if there's a better price, if there's different delivery, to see like all these different features. Instead of trying to find a person to answer those questions, you just let the internet answer those questions for you. And that's good. That is not a bad behavior. That is something that actually makes it a lot easier for us if the business that you're interfacing with actually has that information available. If they don't have it available, then you lose, right? As the customer, you don't have that information, and it makes it less likely that you will buy. And so what is happening is that online shopping is not just on the rise. It is the way that we communicate now is through online shopping, even if it's to drive in-store visits. And so that's the thing I want to hit home, is that just because you have a brick and mortar store doesn't mean that you can't have a really great online presence that actually drives people to make a purchase. And then some of you, thank you all for putting your businesses in there. I appreciate it. Some of you have businesses that rely heavily on things like trade shows and expos and things like that for people to learn about who you are. It's even better if you have e-commerce or some sort of online presence for that, because someone will pass your booth at a trade show, never talk to you, and still look you up because the thing that you sell looks interesting to them, but maybe they are kind of shy or they don't want to get sold to, and so they're not going to talk to you. But if you have a really great online presence and you're at this expo, you're significantly more likely to capture people online because you have that online presence. Matter of fact, someone will likely circle around after doing a little bit of research on you, and if they find enough information, they might come back and actually talk to you about what they found out online. And so you definitely want to have that presence to support whatever your in-person efforts are that you're doing. We all need to be online. Again, this is not just for retailers. This is not just for people who are selling a product. If you are selling a service, we have to remember that 58% of purchases are prompted by something that someone saw online. 58% of purchases. And this is only including your purchases of products. This is not including the fact that we all do this as well with services. So we are looking online for one thing, we see some service that we've never even heard of, and now you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to totally go look that up. I'm going to click this link. I'm going to buy this thing. And so now you are buying a service that, again, maybe you've never even heard of, that is available online. That is just how we behave right now. And then again, going back to what I was saying about that confirmation, 46% of shoppers are confirming inventory while they're in the store, right? So I personally have done that. I don't know about y'all. I'm a fan of actually looking up inventory to make sure that the thing that I want is available. I will do that before I take a trip over to the Container Store. I'm like, or the Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm not heading over to your store before finding out that you actually have the thing. And I don't even need to order it for pickup. I'll go in the store and buy it. I just want to make sure you have it before I get there. Or if I am here and I find something else that I want and it's all the way across the store, especially in a big store, I am absolutely looking it up to see if it's available. These are behaviors that we're all doing. And so it's a matter of us as small businesses leveraging the fact that we're already prone to those behaviors. How can we as small business owners start leveraging that? Well, this is how. So I will ask you, if you are a screenshot person or taking pictures person, go ahead, take a picture, take a screenshot of this slide, because this is everywhere that your product can show up on Google. This is amazing because of all of these, only one of them costs money. Only one, and that's ads. Ads only cost money to run. Like it costs money to run the ads, but that's it. Everything else that you see here is free. It is a matter of you being in the right place in the internet at the right time. And we're going to go through each and every one of these. That's the cool thing about what we're going to do today. And we're going to go through one more that's not actually on here, but that one's also not free. That's the reason why it's not on there. So the first thing you want to do is with your Google business profile, you want to be showcasing your products. Whether you have a product that is a physical product or a service, you can actually put your product or service inside of Google Business Profile in your profile as a product. So even if someone isn't going to use your profile to buy the thing, you can actually use your profile to showcase the products that you have. This is genius because it is completely free and it links directly to your website. So whether, again, you have products or services, it doesn't matter. Whether you have events, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of product you're selling. And we are all, everyone in here is selling something. I see you guys have all sorts of things that you're selling. pies, you're selling housing, you're selling a directory, you're selling tea service, mobile tea boutique, you're selling something, right? You're selling a thing that people can buy. And every single one of us then can use the Google Business Profile to actually put our product available for people to either buy directly or simply to make an appointment to learn more or to sign up for an event. All of those things are available using your Google Business Profile, very specifically using your profile. Now, I will tell you, the number one issue that I see people having with any of the products that we're going to talk about today, with one exception, all of them but one, is that a lot of you will sign up for a product using one Google account, one Google Gmail account, or your Google Workspace account, and you'll forget which one you used to sign up, and you'll lose your account. That is something that I want you to start focusing on now. Don't lose your account because you forgot what email address you used. If you have a Google Workspace account, meaning that you have your @business name, so I'll use the Scratch House as an example. So if @thescratchhouse.com is registered with the Google Workspace and that is your email address registered through Google, use that email address. But if you don't have Google Workspace, like you don't have that tool, just create a Gmail account that's specific to the Scratch House. So it will be thescratchhouse@gmail.com. That way you have a specific email address that is a Gmail that you use for all of your Google products. That keeps it very simple. It's one email. It's used for everything. You can use it for your analytics. You can use it for all the tools we're going to talk about, your Google Business Profile. And if you didn't do that, so I know some of you already started and you didn't do that, that's fine. Even if you didn't do that, you might want to consider doing it now, because with every single Google product available, every single one, you have the ability to transfer ownership to yourself. So if you started the account with your personal Gmail account and you are now using your personal Gmail account for everything, and you're like, I don't want to use my personal inbox that has nothing to do with my business to run all of my Google products for my business, all you would have to do is sign up. You like literally, actually, you don't have to do any signups. If you already have all those accounts, all you have to do is add your now professional email. So your the Scratch House @Gmail, that one that's just dedicated to that. You would add that as an admin to all of those Google accounts that already exist, and then you would just transfer ownership to that. So very, very simple process. And that way you never lose access. Everything is all under one account. It's very easy. I want to make sure that you guys are doing this only because you wouldn't believe the number of people who email me on a regular basis. Once a month at minimum, I get emailed by somebody saying, oh, Google deleted my analytics account or something like that. And I'm like, but did they? Like, they don't do that. So, so the likelihood is simply that that's not true, that there's something else going on, like you have an email address that you need to change or something like that. So that's my one big, huge piece of advice, is make sure that you're actually doing that, getting your Google account, all the same account for everything you're using for Google. It makes life so easy. So you don't have to worry about losing your accounts. Now from there, this is genius level, next level things that every single one of us should be doing, is that we should have our products on our Google Business Profile. It is very easy to do. So I am actually going to show you. Y'all know I'm a big fan of show and tell. So I'm going to type in the name of my business, and you'll see the first thing that comes up when I quote unquote Google my business is my Google Business Profile. And it's taking a second to load up. My internet's a little bit slow right now. So it's taking a second to load up, but once it does, you'll be able to see. Let me get this little thing off the screen. If I can move this out of the way, because all of the internet's slow right now. Sorry about that. So you will see here, it has the ability to edit the profile or edit a product or add a product. This is amazing. Okay, and then also for all of you yesterday, because some of you asked, how do I get reviews? If you simply go into Google and Google put in the name of your business, not the name of your URL, so not mine is prmresults.com or predictableresultsmarketing.com. So don't type that in, just type the actual name of your business in. Once you do that, your Google Business Profile will show up. From there, you can do any of these things directly from Google. Like you don't even have to go into business.google.com, which is where you would normally go. And then when it says here, get your first review or get your reviews, you will click this and it will give you your short link so that you can start sharing that link with everybody. Now, for everyone here who has products, services, bookings, you want people to call you, again, any number of the things that you have available for your business, you can actually put them in as products. And since I've been using Jamar's business as an example, I'm going to continue using that as an example. So the Scratch House does catering. You would think potentially that you can't put catering products in or anything like that into your Google business profile, but that's not true. The reason why it's not true is because of the way that the Google business products get added in. You yourself have complete control over what products you add. So if you have like, if Jamar does catering for a bunch of different types of businesses, or not businesses, different types of events, you could list multiple event types in here. And this is the genius part. So I'm going to put in, I don't know if the Scratch House does weddings, but I'm going to do it. I'm engaged. I'm an engaged human. I'm getting married in April. So I'm going to put wedding catering. And then I'm going to select my category, which is, I'm going to create a new category because I personally haven't done catering. So I'm going to have to put in here catering. So I'm going to put in catering as an example of a product category. Then you can put in a price range. Look at that. So if you're Jamar and you're like, okay, the average wedding catering costs, and you can put in, you know, let's say it's $5,000 to $12,000, right? Not 1,200, 12,000. You can put in a price range, and then you would put in a product description. You can pull this description directly from your website. Please put in a product description. Do not leave that empty. You want to make sure you have a description. Why? Because the internet reads words. If you don't put words in here, it's going to make it very difficult for Google to know what to serve up and to whom. So put those words in there. It says it's optional, but Lindsay's not giving you permission to leave it open. You have to put words in here. And then the next thing, and the reason why this is applicable, even if you have a catering business, is that you don't have to just say order online. You could say learn more, and then you put a link to your wedding catering page on your website. So now Jamar actually has a product inside of his or her Google business profile there, Google business profile. Jamar has this link now that is going to take people directly to their website specifically for wedding catering. They're going to have a price range already built in. All of these things are going to be available. It's going to make it so much more likely that someone actually clicks on that button. Now, if Jamar had, let's say, an event, maybe they do catering, like they do food truck events or things like that, where they actually go out and showcase themselves and people can find them, then instead of putting in catering, you could put in one of those events. So you could put in that you're going to be at such and such food show, put this in as a product. You can put in the catering. Again, it could be food truck day or whatever the name of the event is. We have an event, there's a local event here in Cleveland where every Tuesday it's like Food Truck Tuesday in a specific place in the city. I can't remember what neighborhood it is specifically. It's not in downtown, it's in one of the other neighborhoods, but you can put that in. You can put in the prices of the products that you're going to sell, put in specifically the dates that you're going to be there inside of your product description, and then learn more, or just don't have a button at all because they're not going to be able to buy anything. They actually have to show up. And then once that event is over, you can just delete this product. That's amazing. It's amazing because you're not selling tickets to anything. You're just letting people know that you have the ability to show up for that date. Now, of course, one of your biggest assets is the photo, because once you put a photo in, then there's actually a photo that is identified with the product that you are selling. So again, if you do wedding catering, you would want to put a picture in here, your absolute best wedding photo of your products being displayed at a wedding. Absolute best one. You can put that in here, and then that picture will show up alongside this wedding catering product. So again, it doesn't matter if you sell individual products or if you sell an entire, if you have a whole suite of services, if you sell coaching, if you have classes, any of the things that you sell, you can actually add in as products inside of your Google business profile with a few clicks, literally. And so if you sell dozens of products, you sell maybe like your $5,000. If you are Rosalind Hill, you're $5,000, you sell lots and lots of products. You wouldn't necessarily want to put every single one of your products inside of your Google business profile. That would be a lot of work because you do have to add them in manually. But what you would want to do is put in some of your best sellers. So these are going to be the products that you always have on hand. You always have inventory for them. They are basically never sold out, that you are selling them regardless of what season it is. That way you can load those up into your Google business profile, and then people will be able to see them year round. They will be sending traffic to your website on a regular basis. If you don't believe me, I have a client who sells truffle making kits. They were a client of mine who sells truffle making kits. They put their kits in as a product in their Google business profile, and it is currently the #1 way that people buy products from them is their Google business profile. It is the #1 way. It's crazy. And you wouldn't think that. And they make, they do a stiff business in selling these kits. And it's because they have them in their Google business profile. It was one of the things we prioritized, was getting that content into their Google business profile. So don't delay in doing this just because you think, oh, well, no one's going to buy it. It might not be that people buy the products from seeing it in your profile. It might just be, as I mentioned before, it's the beginning of their buying process. It's the start. It's the thing that gets them going. Now, if you are, let's say you're Ella and you have the tea room, you can also, instead of selling the products of the tea room and the services that you offer, you can also do bookings. This is another really great way that you can actually get people to participate in your business using your Google business profile. And when I say get bookings, if you have a booking tool, it makes it really easy because you would just link directly to your booking tool. So if you use Calendly or some other tool, there's Acuity Scheduling, there's a lot of booking tools out there, some of which actually come with the ability for people to pay at the time that they book. Then you could just put a booking button on your Google business profile and let people book for different types of events. It's amazingly easy and it's completely free. Like, this is the thing that, again, people are missing out on, is that when they Google not just your business, that's the part that makes this really special. It's not just if they Google your business, it's if they Google what your business does and you happen to come up when they go to find out more information about you. Oh goodness, all of that is going to be in there. And if you are a location-based business, which all of us are on some level, if someone does a map search for businesses near them and you show up with your completely filled out Google business profile that includes your services and your products, this also works for MBAC, by the way. You can put your events in here. I didn't even show you that. There's an option for you to put events in here as well. So you put all of those types of things into your Google business profile, and then anyone who is looking for things near them would see you in priority, because even though they tell us that they don't, Google prioritizes businesses that have a business profile. And so you will show up on maps higher than people who don't. And so you have a built-in advantage that you can do at any point just by filling out your Google business profile, which is completely free. And yes, so Ella is asking, does this help with SEO? The S in SEO stands for search, the E for engine, and the O for optimization. Search engine, Google, this is your search engine right here. And filling out your Google business profile increases the likelihood of you getting found, which is optimizing. So this is actual search engine optimization. It's just not happening on your website. So this is search engine optimization that you can do yourself for your own business without you having to know how to code or do any of the fancy stuff that you would have to do on your website. It keeps it easy and simple. So yes, it does help for search. That is one of the reasons why I always tell people to do it. Okay, make sure you're doing it. So now once you complete it, your business are going to show, your products are going to show up as a part of an entire product catalog. So I hope that you all do this, because it really, really makes a difference for making sure that your products actually show up. If you do nothing else from this workshop, this is your lowest hanging fruit. This is the thing that's easiest to do. It's quick, it takes no time, and it's available. Like the instant you do it, it shows up on your profile. So the second you do it, it actually works. That's one of the things that I would say you should do. We're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff that's a little bit more complicated. This is easy, it's free, and you can do it right now. So please go ahead and do that. Now, outside of your Google business profile, the next thing that a lot of people don't know you can do that is very easy, very quick to do, is actually getting your products on the Google Merchant Center. Now, this one is difficult because occasionally I'll even ask in the chat, give me a +1 or, the number 1 in the chat if you have the Google Merchant Center set up for your business already. Give me a +1. Oh, and I'm looking to see what you guys are, how you guys are doing with getting your Google Merchant Center set up. Okay, we got one person. Okay, Rosalind, keep them coming. We have a few people who have started this process, and I know some people who start the process and then they get bogged down because there's an approval process with Google. So you start out with using the Merchant Center, only a couple of you, so a lot of y'all about to learn some stuff right now. You start out using the Merchant Center and there is an approval process, and that approval process can be a little tricky sometimes. So we're going to talk about that. So when you start using the Google Merchant Center, the thing you need to know is that it is the tool that makes everything else we're going to talk about today easy if it's set up properly. Oftentimes the Google Merchant Center is set up improperly because of Shopify, very specifically, and occasionally like big commerce, but Shopify is the biggest culprit here. But let's see why the Merchant Center is so huge. It's because if you get the Merchant Center right, your product is going to show up for free in search. It's going to show up in the shopping tab. It can show up in the images tab. It can show up in Google Lens, and you can run Google ads like for your specific products at any given point in time, if you're using the Google Merchant Center. So instead of using the whole entire ads platform, which is very complicated, yes, Rosalind has had her Shopify nightmare. It can be very challenging if you do it wrong with Shopify. And so, but once you get it right, your stuff can show up everywhere all at once because you've got your Google Merchant Center set up. Now, how it works, it's very, very simple. You create the account with Google Merchant Center, you upload your product, and then they show up on Google. If you've never even heard of this before, this is the process that you want to do. You want to create your Google Merchant account. And again, this goes back to that email address thing I talked about. Use an email that you know is connected to like your business. You don't want to use your personal email or something like that, mostly because Google Merchant Center, it is complicated. And if you're using a different email address and they are sending the notifications to somewhere else and all that, it's just, because they will actually send you notifications for the Google Merchant Center. So let me see, let me give you guys the URL for it. There we go. So I'm going to drop it in here into the chat so that you guys have it, but it is just like, it's actually a really simple, it's g.co/merchant center is the Merchant Center email URL, g.co/merchant center. And when you're in here, it's going to have the sign in or sign up. If you have never signed up before, you're going to click on sign up and go through the sign up process. Signing up is very simple. It has a little widget for you to go through. If you want to, if you have a Google business profile, very fortunately, again, linked already to as the email address that you're using to create your Google Merchant account. So if you use the same one for your Google business profile that you're using to create your Google Merchant account, it will automatically recognize your business. It will say, oh, you're predictable results marketing and you're trying to create a merchant center, and it'll fill in all your business information for you using your Google business profile. So that, number one, that makes it easy. And then from there, you get to decide where you want someone to check out. So a few of you in here have Shopify. Some of you probably have Wix or some other place where people are using. But for those of us who are a little bit different, I don't know, let me see if there's any coaches in here. I don't see anyone who says that they are a business coach or anything like that. But if you are a business coach, a lot of business coaches will use other platforms like Kartra or Thrivecart or lead pages, you're using some software where people are going to make a big purchase, or you're using a learning management system like Thinkific or something like that. If that's the case, you can actually have your Google Merchant Center send people directly to that page. So it doesn't have to be your website. So if they don't check out on your personal website, they check out from a landing page somewhere. With your options here, you can send them to that landing page. So it doesn't have to be a page on your website. Basically, you would just have to tell them. And then if you have a physical shop like Rosalind does, you can include the fact that you want people to be able to check out at your store. So you can say all of these. I want them to check out on Google. I want them to check out on my website, meaning anywhere you want them to go that you control, or you can have them checking out at your store, and you can do all of them. You can do all of them. It is completely available for you. Once you connect your account, you're going to decide whether you want to opt into Google's emails about the Merchant Center. I personally opted in for them, but only because the Merchant Center sends out pretty good emails. And then you agree to your terms and services and you create your account. It's very, very simple. If you're using some other tool like Shopify or BigCommerce, or there's a few other platforms now when you go to log into the Google Merchant Center, there's a few of these platforms that they have the ability for you to say you're using. So it's not just Shopify anymore. It's Shopify, BigCommerce, a bunch of them. So there's some options in there if you're not just using Shopify. Yes. So Latrina is asking, is it okay if you sell a variety of products? So one of the businesses that I've worked with from these workshops, actually, they have a two-sided business. One side of the business is they do like invitations for events. They do paper invitations and things like that, and signage and things for weddings and baby showers and things like that. It's on the same website as their body butter, home fragrance, lotions. They have basically two businesses running from the same website. And so, yes, you can sell just about anything. It actually doesn't matter. And you can also sell anything as it is. When I say that, there are restrictions. These restrictions are specific to the industries that Google doesn't promote, period. So it can't be anything that is related to sex work. So even if it is simple like burlesque, which of course is not actual sex work, but it counts in this category. So it can't be something like burlesque. It can't be something that sells firearms or promotes the sale of firearms. There's like a list of things that they won't allow you to promote using Google Merchant Center, but it's a very short list. And so, and most of you are not selling any of those things. And you also cannot sell medical products. So if you have a business, and I ran into this problem with that same body butter company. If you have a business that sells a product that has health claims, you have to remove all of your health claims from the product before you can sell it on the Merchant Center. Mostly because Google is not in the business of promoting health claims. So if your product is like, I'll use something like tea tree oil. If it has tea tree oil in it, which is like an antifungal, blah, 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 and it helps to heal eczema or something like that, you can't actually put that in the claim. Like it can't be in the description. You can still sell the product, but you have to remove those words from the description, because what happens, the reason why this happens is because Google's products, when they share those products, they are not sharing any of your description, any of that. It's context free. It's based 100% on someone doing a Google search. And what they don't want is to be accidentally promoting things that are making false claims. So they essentially just don't want to have any claims in that as well. CBD products are usually excluded, as are any products related to actual THC. And that's again because the health claims around them tend to be difficult to verify. And so if you're selling a supplement or anything like that, it's going to be very difficult to get those products to show up in the Google Merchant Center. It doesn't mean that you can't sell them. It doesn't even mean that you can't try, because there are some products that you just change the wording on it and it works just fine. So very, very important. Latrina asks, do you have to be an LLC? No, you do not. They do not care. You don't have to be an LLC at all. And you also, Latrina, just in case anyone was wondering about this, you also don't have to sell brand new products. We're going to get to that in a second. So if you are someone who sells secondhand products, like products that Maybe you are a vintage hunter and you sell vintage brides dresses, or you sell vintage Nikes or whatever. You can actually sell pretty much anything using the Merchant Center, as long as it doesn't fit that like short list of drug related or synthetics or whatever, supplementals. There's a really short list, but as long as it's not on that list, you can sell just about anything. It's very nice. Again, products, services, it doesn't matter. And once you get that stuff into your Google Merchant Center account, you will have all sorts of data. Your Google Merchant Center tells you all sorts of information about how often people are looking at your products, where they're showing up. It's amazing because as I showed you that circle that has all the different places your products can show up, it's going to let you know all the different places that your products can show up. There's, of course, no guarantee that people are Googling your products. So if they are Googling it and you show up, then that is going to, again, that's where you're going to see that performance, where you're going to see whether your products are growing by people actually finding them using just an actual Google search. Now, once you create your account, you get your business information in there, you will have to verify your business. And when I say verify your business, again, this is not to say, Latrina, you have to send them anything about like your business formation or anything like that. They really just want to make sure that you have a website that's verifiable, period. So you will use your Google Analytics. That's your number one way to do it. If you have Google Analytics on your website, then that's easy enough. They'll verify it using your Google Analytics account. This is again to keep people who are doing bad business practices from having access to this kind of platform. Because if you can imagine people who are unethical and have businesses that aren't real businesses having access to this, they could commit a lot of fraud. There could be a lot of fraud happening. And so Google is like, they have a few steps to prevent people from committing fraud. Those steps tend to occasionally trip up small business owners, which is the reason why I'm here talking to you about it today, because I know some of you are going to get tripped up with these steps, and I want you to make sure that you can overcome it when you get tripped up. It's just a matter of figuring it out, like why it's excluding you or why it's telling you that you can't, because if you are not doing any of the businesses that are not allowed, there's no reason why you can't get your account verified and all that. You just have to like kind of continuously work at it to make sure that your products are showing up. It's legitimately, that is the way it works. For small business owners, it's hard because it takes time sometimes. Other times, it's just a couple of clicks and you're on and everything is fine. And then other times it's like, oh my God, what words am I using that are causing me to get flagged? And that's all you really have to find out is what that looks like. Now, let's go back to this analytics verification thing. I am not going to apologize for constantly asking you all to use the same email address for everything, because if I don't, you won't. And I want you to use the same email address for everything. Why? Because if you use the same email address for analytics and Google Merchant Center and your Google Business Profile, if you do that, then when it comes time to set all these things up, they will automatically be talking to each other, and it will not be an issue for you to verify your account using analytics. But if you're using a different email address and you go to verify your account using analytics, it's not going to be able to find it because it's under a different email address. And so you want to make sure that you are as much as humanly possible using the same accounts, so that it is same email account, so that it's all easy to verify using your one single email account that you're using for all of the accounts. Okay. Now, when you go to add your product, so remember I said you have to verify your website, but I also said that it doesn't matter what website you use to sell your stuff. So if you're me and you are a coach, I'm a business coach and I sell classes. I don't sell classes on my website. So prmresults.com does not have the ability for you to pay for a class. All the classes that I sell are on a different platform. Well, I would verify my PRM results URL using the analytics, do all that verification, get my account set up. And then when I go to add my products, I can actually add my products manually. So I can say, here are the 3 classes that I have available right now, and anyone can sign up for and take those classes. And here's the link to the URL to buy them. It's actually really easy. So there's that. But if you have multiple products, so if you have, see, like Latrina, you got multiple websites and all that. I'm the same. I have multiple websites that I'm managing for the same one business. So if you have that, all you do is you verify the one account and then you would add your products manually. If you are Rosalind or Ella or any of the other businesses where basically people are going to be buying the product or the service directly from your one website, if you're using Shopify or BigCommerce or any of these e-commerce platforms, it's actually really easy to get yourself set up. So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, when you're adding individual products, you are going to make sure that you're adding in all of the information that Google is asking for, including a description. You do not need to have a ISBN, EAN, UPC code. So again, thinking about Latrina and her body butters and things like that, if you're not selling your products in stores, you might not have any of those things. So you don't have to put it in there. You're just going to say identifier exists. No, you don't have a unique identifier, and then it will make one for you. It will create one. So you do not have to have one. And when you go to add a multiple products, that is where things get really fun. So I'll talk about that in a second. You're going to name your feed if you want to use the Google Sheets method of reality, which you can. I don't encourage it, but you can. You're going to use their template. You're going to upload the template. It's very simple. Add all your products in, upload it. It's cumbersome, but it works. Or you can use Shopify or BigCommerce or one of their other products and just feed it in automatically. Now, this is where the trouble starts, because inside of Shopify, I'm not going to log into Shopify and show you this because it's a mess. Inside of Shopify, if you go the Shopify route, Shopify actually has a little button that says sell your products on Google. And what they will do, and the reason why people get hung up, is that Shopify will actually create your Google merchant account for you. Yeah, they'll create one. The problem is, dear Jesus, what email address are they using? Who knows? It's whatever one you use to sign up for Shopify. So if you happen to use your personal email address to sign up for Shopify, and then all of your other products with Google are set up under your professional Google email address, they're not going to be able to talk to each other. And so you're going to have a Shopify account that doesn't actually link to your Google Merchant Center. It's a mess. So what you really want to do is set up your Merchant Center first, period. Always set up your Merchant Center first. Even if you currently have Shopify and you have your product set up on Shopify, still go set up your Merchant Center first. And then when Shopify says, do you want to set up your Google, sell on Google? You say yes, and you log in through Shopify. So at that point, you say, yes, Shopify, but I already have a Google Merchant account. Here it is. And then that way they can connect directly to the right account the first time. Otherwise, you will have to go in and delete the account that you set up via Shopify and start all over from scratch, because oftentimes you won't be able to find that merchant center that Shopify actually set up for you because it's not set up with a Gmail address. Yeah. And so that is the worst. I don't want any of you to deal with that. It is a headache. So instead, set up your merchant center first, do all the steps I told you about, set that up first, and then use Shopify to connect, or then use BigCommerce to connect. And it's very easy from there. So remember, I said there's all these different e-commerce things that you can do, and only one of them, or technically two, are paid. Shopify is one of those paid versions, because with Shopify, you're going to be paying for your Shopify account. You're not paying for the connection with the Google Merchant Center, because that's free, but you do have to pay for your Shopify account, which is not free. So that part is actually paid. You don't have to use Shopify though. If you want to do this whole thing without paying, this is the brilliant part. You can. You would just need to add your products manually. That's it. And then they will still show up in Google Shopping, Google Images, Google Lens. They will show up all those places. You're just going to have to do a lot of work to make it happen, but it's completely possible. Now, I personally love Shopify. I am a fan. I'm an advocate. I tell people about it. I've set up plenty of Shopify shops for people. It is something that I enjoy as a product. I think it's great. So why I think it's great is because it was started for e-commerce, specifically for small businesses. So Shopify is very, very easy for small business owners to use. Whether you are selling 10 products or 10,000 products, it doesn't matter. Shopify works for every business, period. It's being used all over the world, and they are processing billions of dollars in sales. It's actually kind of fantastic. And you can use Shopify if you have an in-person store as well. It's kind of remarkable. So I'm not going to go through all the details about how to get it started. Basically, you want to do is go through their little wizard and set yourself up. It's actually pretty easy. And then once you do, you're going to add your products and then connect to Google. You're going to go into sales channels. This is the most important part. Inside of Shopify, they have a little thing called sales channels. It is right underneath the stack of all of the regular Shopify activities, thing called sales channels. You're going to click on sales channels. There's a little plus button. All the ones that are grayed out are all the other channels that you can sell on, like Facebook. I'm not supposed to tell you about that, but you can sell on Facebook if you have Shopify. You can sell on Pinterest if you have Shopify. You can sell on Instagram if you have Shopify. It's amazing. It makes it so much easier to do all of those things. But we're going to talk about Google. So you're going to go to your sales channel. You're going to click on Google and you hit that plus button. And this is where, if you done it right, all you're going to do essentially is sign up. You're going to like sign in. So it has here the ability for you to connect your account to Shopify, and you're going to add the sales channel after you see that it's set up, and it says connect Google account. This is where you're going to connect your merchant account that you've already created. If you hadn't created one, it would essentially create one for you. So don't do this yet, because it says connect for everybody. But what they essentially do is, if you don't have one, it's going to create one, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So you're going to connect one. You're going to tell it what Google email address to use. So this is going to be your, what was the business that I was using? This is going to be the point where you use the scratchhouse@google.com or gmail.com. So that's when you're going to put that one in. And then it's going to ask you, to set up your product feed. There we go. It's going to ask you to set up your product feed and all that stuff. It's pretty darn simple. It's very easy to do from that point. It's just a matter of actually, like my mouse is very, very sensitive today. It's just a matter of actually setting it up. So how can you tell if your products are showing up in all these locations? Oh, well, one of the best ways to tell is inside of analytics of the Merchant Center. So when you go into the Merchant Center, it has all of the different products that you have, and it has the ability for you to see in the Merchant Center what you're getting found for. That's the hard part, is that oftentimes you will have your products set up in the Merchant Center properly, but you're not really showing up in search yet. What this means, if you have it set up properly, but you're not getting a lot of searches, it's likely that you need to adjust your keywords on your website. Now, Rosalind and I have been talking about this for some time. Each of your products needs to have a keyword focus, and it needs to have a very good description. If you have those two things going for you, then you will get found in the Merchant Center. From the Merchant Center, I will use my favorite example, which is apple red bridesmaids dresses. My mom said to me when she was getting married a couple years ago, I want you to find some apple red bridesmaid dresses for you and your sisters. And I'm like, oh God. So let me Google this and see what happens. When you first Google this term, I'm gonna get rid of some of the stuff on the screen. When you first Google, you're gonna get the shopping ads. That's the first thing that comes up. But if I click on shopping, the shopping tab, which is where you would show up potentially, you'll see a bunch of stuff that's not ads. So these are the ads, and then these are the things that aren't ads, right? If you look here, David's Bridal Jersey A-line bridesmaid's dress with knot detail, it doesn't say apple red in here. It doesn't say it on the product description that I see inside of Google, but it does say it in the product description on the website. And so what we have to do is make sure that our product descriptions are fitting a large variety of what people might actually be looking for. You don't have to say the words apple red, but having red in there instead of using any number of other words that don't mean red is the thing that's going to be helpful, because Google can extrapolate. They can say, okay, well, Lindsay says apple red. No one knows what that means. So I'm just going to give her a bunch of red dresses that have the word red, but it definitely needs to have the word bridesmaid, and absolutely needs to be a dress. They're not showing me anything that is not a bridesmaid's dress. Look at all these bridesmaid's dresses. It's amazing. All the different options, even the ones that aren't red, this on their website somewhere, it's going to say red. There's going to be an option for this dress to be red. All of those things are because the people who created those products have the description on the product. You have to make sure your product descriptions are very, very good. Oh, no. Okay. So Latrina, there is no connection between costs between Shopify and Google. They don't have any financial relationship whatsoever. So if you have your when you're on Shopify, you're paying Shopify directly. And then anything you do on Google is free unless you're running ads. And so everything we're talking about here is completely free. There's zero financial contributions made by you to anybody unless you're paying for Shopify specifically or running ads specifically. Everything is free, period. So you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start, right? I don't want any of you to get overwhelmed by the 95 things I just talked about. You have to just start. So again, I don't even want to go into additional resources just yet. I want you to make sure you remember one thing. Everything that I talked about here hinges on you being in the Google Merchant Center. Once you get things set up here and you know that they're functioning, you will get to show up in shopping. So we have the shopping, we have images. This is the other place where you'll show up. And if you have the ability for people to buy your product, when you're in images, it'll show the little price tag there that people can click on and actually see a little pop out of what your price is, whether it's in stock, where they can get it, and they'll have the button to visit your website. This is an image search. It also will show up in Google Lens, which means that if someone is somewhere in the internet or the world and they point their phone camera at something and click on it and ask Google, what is this? It'll have the ability to show, again, the price of the product, the name of the product. All of these things will be included because you have it set up right. It is amazing what you can do. And all of it's free. Completely free. The only thing you pay for is if you want to show up here in the top, in the ads section. That's when you start paying, and that's the only place you pay. Okay, that's it. That's it. It's the only place you pay. Okay, so there are a couple of options out there for you to increase, again, the likelihood of getting found by improving your site. So I'm going to give you this link. I'm going to drop it into the chat. This is Grow My Store. It is a Think with Google product, and it helps you to improve your retail store. So you enter in your URL, and it's going to give you some suggestions about, here's your link. It's going to give you some suggestions of things that you can do to make your website even better. If you have an e-commerce store, lots of tools like that available. You can, of course, keep learning. There is a YouTube channel for the Grow with Google team. If you go to that channel, you'll see me in at least one video. I think I might be in a couple. And that is another thing that is available. Asia, you do not have to be selling a product in order for you to use all of these things. You can use them for selling services too. You just have to use the manual option. So you're going to manually go in and add your products, which is your service. Like I said with Jamar earlier, Jamar can go in and add all these different catering services into the Google Merchant Center, just like I could add that Apple Red bridesmaid dress. Doesn't matter what you're selling. And then if you want more training, again, beyond that, just go to grow.google.com. There's all sorts of opportunities for learning and growing on that platform as well. Now, before I let y'all go, I want to know, what did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn today? Somebody give me in the chat what you learned. What do you now know that you can tell me what you learned over the course of the whole week? Because those of you who've been here for 3 days in a row, I know you done learned some stuff because we didn't talk about a lot of stuff. So tell me what you learned today. What do you now know that you did not know before? And I will also share in here my link for feedback. So let me grab that link, because Google absolutely loves feedback. They're an organization that is big on it. So you can tell me what you learned in the chat so that I will know. I want to know personally what you learned. I'm not seeing it. Go ahead. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what. Okay. Thanks, Jay. Jay got me. Jay, you got to help me out, y'all. What y'all learned? Okay. Yes, use your Google Workspace email address. That's a big one. I want to make sure that everyone does that. That's going to be a huge one. Please, even if you don't use your Workspace email, just make sure that you're using some email address that you actually know what it is. Oh, that's the worst. So many things. I hope you guys got a lot of it. How do you guys grow with Google? Yes. to Google your business. You like use your Google business profile so that you can actually like leverage all of these assets. Great. Oh, great. I'm glad you got so much out of it. You guys are getting a lot out of it.
Well, then for those who were not here on the other days, we do have the recordings that we will be sending out to you. So that is your treat for being a part of this session this week. We certainly appreciate it. I mean, Lindsay, again, I can't say enough. I'm screenshotting, I'm taking notes. I'm going out on my Gmail account and looking at my business. Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And everybody that took time to come and join us today. Jamar, thank you. I told you if you came, it would be interactive with you. So, and I didn't tell her anything. So, and all for everybody that joined us and those that came from out of state and out of Columbus, welcome. Thank you so much. And we hope that you will join us for some of our future opportunities. We got actually coming up, we have a live event on the 15th of February. We're actually providing holding a professional services speak networking event. So for all of our businesses that are looking for professional services, we are bringing them to you all in one place at the King Arts Center. And we would love for you to join us there so that you can interview potential folks to provide services from you, whether it's accounting, legal, IT, marketing, human resources, administrative support, web design, business coaching, and maybe we can even get Lindsay to join us and be there so that you get a chance to meet her face to face. So again, thank you for being with us today. And I'm Sharon Francis again with the Minority Business Assistance Center, hosted by the Columbus Urban League, and our director is Jesse Mark. And again, look to see you at the next session, next thing that we have. Keep an eye out for our newsletter. Oh, and you'll see that you can register with us. Our email address is listed there. Just go to mbac@cul.org or on our website. You can register for services. That way you'll be on our weekly mailing list and keep up to date with news, information, and resources that you could use to grow your business. Okay, Lindsay, thank you again. Everybody, take care.